Why has the New York defense struggled? Why has the defensive line been non-existent? What do we make of the Jets through the first 3 games of the season? Those are some of the questions I'm going to be asking our guest on today's show. Leger Douzable is going to be joining us. He played for Robert Saleh. He played for the Jets. Now he talks about the NFL on Sirius XM. He also is a commentator for ESPN and CBS Sports HQ, and he's joining us. So let's hit it and get it started. The Jets end their AFC North swing in Pittsburgh. Will an upstart D led by Sauce Gardner smother the Steelers' O?
You're writing the story of your own life. Never allow another man to hold the pen.
Please subscribe to my channel and hit the like button down below. Super chat, baby. Cut the line. Can these Jets shock the football world? Now, let's talk about the New York Jets. This is the Jake Asman Show.
Hit it!
Here we go on a Wednesday. Hope you're having a good day. Thanks for spending part of your day with us here on the channel. My next guest, as I said at the top, he needs no introduction. In fact, we miss him dearly on the SNY Jets postgame show, where he can hopefully keep Bart and Willie in line. The great Leger Douzable, former Jet defensive lineman, played for Robert Saleh with the Niners. And as I mentioned, maybe the busiest guy in sports media right now. NFL analyst for CBS Sports HQ. You're calling games for ESPN for college football, and you're doing a national radio show every night, Leger, on Mad Dog Sports Radio. I Am Athlete.
I am, Jake. It's a blessing, right? But like you said, I might be one of the most busiest men on earth right now, but it's a blessing, man. Who would have thought? I mean, I'd always had the work ethic, and I knew this is what I wanted to do. But to be able to be blessed to not only have a good NFL career, but my next career to be blessed to do what I want to do and have so many opportunities. It's been great.
So let's start with this Jets defensive line, because I'm just befuddled by what we have seen so far, Leger. I mean, you played for Robert Saleh. I had you on in the offseason. We talked about how this line has so much talent and the scheme is perfect for what Robert Saleh wants to do. Why have the Jets really struggled to get pressure on the quarterback, get sacks through the first 3 games of the year?
It's a combination of a couple things. Calls, D-line working together. Let me break it down for you, right? Because I know at first when I was watching the game live, right, I was getting kind of mad at Ulbrich. But now that I've watched it back a few times, it's a combination of the play calling and the guys up front, right? And when I say the combination of the two, the first drive, the Bengals were in the red zone. They end up scoring on a shovel pass to Tyler Boyd. Gets called back, holding call, right? So now they're behind the 8-ball, behind the sticks, right? First couple plays just do good. I think they hold them to 3rd and 9. And third down has been the Achilles heel for this Jets defense. Going back to last year, the run defense has played significantly better, but the third down defense is where you have to win games, whether it's one-on-one on the outside at corner, one-on-one pass rush, or even the call, the person calling the plays, Ulbrich. So, everybody was complaining, and I was too, until I went back and watched the film about, like, why are we blitzing 7 guys and going man coverage single high when we paid all this money to the defensive line? Well, if you look on the first touchdown, right, and I stated this, I did a show for the Jets, actually, the Robert Saleh show, and they asked me to break some things down where I think the Jets can make, some leeway and what things I think the Bengals can make leeway. If anybody watched the Bengals last year, right, their offensive line was atrocious. It's been atrocious the first 2 weeks of the season. Joe Burrow and his pocket presence, right, he's athletic enough to make plays with his legs to buy time to throw the ball down the field. I made a high emphasis on that going into this week. I said, guys, when you get to the top of the rush, you have to come back. You cannot allow Joe Burrow to get out the pocket because that's when he's dangerous, right? And if you saw the first touchdown, Jake, literally that's what happened. The defensive line run a pass rush game. They run an exit game up top with Quinnen Williams and Carl Lawson. Well, the offensive tackle actually does a really good job of setting kind of deep, so it's hard for Carl to really pick the guard. But he still has to get more east and west and then get vertical right there. And then Quinnen Williams, when he's wrapping, he has to wrap tight. He decides to peek back inside. Joe Burrow, even though he's a right-hand quarterback, is able to flush out to the left, right? It buys him time, buys time for receivers to work back to him. He finds some RGP, Ryan. You can only ask the defensive backfield to guard for so long. So that was on the defensive line. That's not on Ulbrich, right? Next third down, we come down. Couple third downs. He goes man blitz. I believe CJ Mosley is stuck on Tyler Boyd in the slot, right? Tyler Boyd is going to win that rep probably 9 out of 10 times. Single high safety. Joyner's put in a difficult position because he can bracket with CJ Mosley right there. But then also you got T. Higgins one-on-one with Michael Carter. So it's a tough predicament for the single high safety right there. 9 times out of 10, if you blitz, 6 or 7 guys, Joe Burrow knows where to go with the football. They get a completion. Then on the next third down, where we get the Tyler Boyd explosion for a touchdown, again, he sends 7 guys. Now, again, you want him to make the quarterback make quick, easy decisions. I mean, you want him to make the quick decisions, and maybe he throws an errant pass. But Joe Burrow has 3 really good receivers, right? He knows if you're blitzing, you got 7 guys at the line of scrimmage, most likely you're coming. He knows where to go with the football. So on that play, Michael Carter gets beat inside, but because Tyler Boyd has the whole field to work with, right? He can run the slot fade, he can run inside. He just wins inside, and then Whitehead misses the tackle. Now, do I like the call? No, but if Whitehead just tackles him, you line up and play defense again. So it's a combination of guys not rush. And then before that, right, when the Jets actually do get off the field, he actually sent a 5-man blitz, and I thought it was perfect. They bracketed Jamar Chase, had a single high safety. JFM gets a penalty that you just cannot have. Mm-hmm. And the only reason why he got that penalty is because Jacob Martin didn't point his inside toe. He should have actually gotten a sack on that play. He beats Lyle Collins, but it just like he couldn't bend enough to get to the edge and at least grab, Joe Burrow. So Joe Burrow gets out of the pocket again. JFM chases him down. Was it ticky-tack? Yes, but they're going to protect the quarterbacks. You're not going to be able to shove. I think what hurt him is he shoved him, but then tripped and landed on him. So that's why they really threw the flag. So is that on Albrecht? No. Like, the defensive line has to make a play right there. So, Jake, it's honestly been a combination of both. Like you can complain about the play calling all you want. I saw Quentin Williams get mad, but Quentin Williams, that play where Samaje Perine scores a touchdown, that's on you. You let Joe Burrow out of the pocket. You have to do your jobs. Like, people don't understand how important it is. Pass rush lanes, working as one unit up front. Because of a guy that's so special like Joe Burrow, like, when something's not open, he can make something happen if you allow him to get out the pocket and buy time. That's where he kills teams. That's what he did to Kansas City in the championship. Even though he got beaten, blundered up versus Tennessee, he did it to them a few times. Like, you have to keep this guy in the pocket and make him throw from a funnel. So I saw Quentin Williams getting mad at it, and I understood it because I've called Dunbar. I love him to death, but I've gotten in his face before because, Rex Ryan is a blitz-happy guy. We already know that. But the defensive line we had with me, Snacks, Sheldon Richardson, Mo, we're like, bro, just put it on us sometimes. So I get what Quentin Williams is saying, but when you get those opportunities and you guys get a 4-man rush, you got to make hay right now. They did in the second half. And when, the Jets started playing a little bit more zone coverage, him and Sheldon Reagan started getting to the quarterback. JFM, I think even Jermaine Johnson got a few pressures. But at that point, the momentum is a real thing. The game was practically over because, the Bengals were scoring at will in the first half. So, like, some mistakes can really haunt you for the rest of the game. Now, we learned the Cleveland game, you're never out of a game. But momentum's a real thing. Once they scored on those first 2 drives, I knew it was probably going to be a long day.
So I got to ask about the substitutions that the Jets deploy in this scheme, because I went back and looked at what the Niners were doing in 2019, and they rotated some guys, but guess what? Bosa was still out there.
Bosa, Eric Armstead, and DeForest Buckner were the guys that still took about 75%. And I think if you look at it from last year, I think Quentin's already taken more than he did last year. I think he's around 65. I can see that number continuing to go up, right? Because, yes, you want your guys fresh, but you need your guys in there when it matters, right? So, like, a guy like Quentin Williams, and he's probably the only guy that's probably going to take, and I think he does have the most snaps on the defensive line so far, but I think he's the only guy that gets the 75% mark. You got to think Carl's coming off the Achilles injury. Now, maybe if he feels good week 4 or 5 and getting some production, you maybe keep him in. But everybody else, I think, is going to rotate. That's just what it is. Now, JFM is probably going to be second in snaps just because he plays on the outside and is like the only guy that plays on the inside as well. So those 2 guys, you want to look at them and have them around 70, 75%. Everybody else is going to rotate. And I just want Bryce Huff to get an opportunity. Like, I think I love the signing of Jacob Martin, but I didn't know we were going to do what we did in the draft. Like, I knew we were going to take an edge guy high. I didn't know we were going to take 2 guys. And both of those guys be able to come in and contribute right away. So I think it's a tough position right now if you're Aaron Whitecoat and Saleh, because I think Jacob Martin's making like $3 or $4 million. But Bryce Huff, to me, had a better camp. I think if Bryce Huff doesn't get hurt last year, I don't know if they signed Jacob Martin right this year. And I think he deserves an opportunity to go out there because I like his bend. I like him against the run. Like Jacob Martin you're really only getting third down reps from him in special teams. Like Bryce Huff, you could put him out there on first down, and I feel like him and Carl Lawson is not a big difference in the run game. Like they'll both be able to set the edge and play, stout in the run game. So it'll be interesting to see going forward, do they make that opportunity? Now, Jacob Martin hasn't been bad by any means, but sometimes you just need a different spark to come out there, and I think Bryce Huff can provide that.
So you played for Robert Saleh in San Francisco. You know this Jets team as well as anyone. Jet fans rightfully are concerned right now. I know it's only 3 games, but we saw a lot of this last year, and I know the roster wasn't as good as it is this year, but it's not the losses necessarily, Leger. I speak for the fan base. It's the fact that out of the 3 games, they've had the lead for 22 seconds in one of them. Thank God they won the Browns game, but this team easily could be 0-3 with 3 non-competitive losses, essentially, or 2 of them definitely at home. So as someone who knows Saleh, is he the right guy to make these adjustments and figure things out and get this team back on track?
It's funny because we had this conversation on the radio last night. I've actually had it all week long. Like, for your team to actually make a run, to be a competitive team, you need a little bit of luck. Like, people don't want to hear that, but you need to be blessed and have a little luck. I compare it to the Chargers situation. I had them winning the AFC West. But look at what they've been through. Their Pro Bowl center's out. They lost one of the best tackles in the game, and Rashawn Slater, Pro Bowler. He's out for the year now. Keenan Allen hasn't been there the last 2 weeks. Pro Bowl receiver. Your quarterback is dealing with cartilage damage to his ribs. Shouldn't have even been out there this past week, but he's a warrior. He decided to go out there. Like, you need a little bit of luck, Jake. Like, people can like Miami Dolphins are playing really well right now, but they haven't really been hit by the injury bug like everybody else has been hit. Like, their defense played 90 snaps on Sunday and inked out a win. Like, when you win games like that, they usually start something, right? But now they play on a short week, so we'll see if that defense can recover. I've been there when we played a lot of snaps on Sunday and then had to turn around and play on the Thursday. Your legs aren't there, and you usually realize it in the third, fourth quarter when the game matters the most. So you need a little bit of luck. And again, Joe D, I think maybe could have did something different with the offensive tackle position. Maybe drafted a guy higher. Like, I really want to Ike Ekwonu, but he's even had his struggles this year. So who knows if that would have been even a better pick. Neal has struggled this year. Max Mitchell might be the best offensive tackle that got drafted. Actually, Abraham Lucas has played dominant football in Seattle. A lot of people aren't talking about it because they got Charles Cross on the other side. But Abraham Lucas, their third-round pick, has played really well at the right tackle position. So who would have thought a third and fourth-round pick would be the best offensive tackles from this rookie class so far this year? I mean, you just never know. So people could say what they want about Joe. When, Becton went down, he did what he could do. He went and tried to get Brown. Brown had never had an injury history, right? This guy was Mr. Reliable. Like, he was an Iron Man. And sure enough, he comes to the Jets, gets a shoulder injury. Now, I heard he might be working this week, potentially could come back next week. We'll see. That'll be a big boost for that offensive line. But, George Fant was clearly not healthy Sunday. He was out there trying to give it his all for his team. And the things that he's been through, it sucked, right? This is a guy that finally found his footing at left tackle. Becton goes down. Now they force him to go back to right, and he hasn't taken right tackle reps, all off season, all during camp. He's got a week and a half, 2 weeks to prepare to play week 1 on the right side. Oh, you know what? Dwayne Brown got hurt. So I'm sorry. We got to put you back to left tackle. Like, it's been a revolving door at the tackle position. So you can say what you want about Joe D. And, he tried his best. He spent money on the offensive line. He spent money on the defensive line. He always talks about building it from inside out. He did that. But again, you got to be blessed and have some luck to have success. And we saw Tampa Bay, right? Look at all the injuries they dealt with. They're barely putting up any points this year, but their defense has been healthy. So they've been able, to still win games. Now, there's only so much you can ask the Jets defense to do. Like, week 1 versus Baltimore, I thought they played really well. Now, they gave up too many yards versus the Browns. And then, again, it was miscommunication on the touchdown to Chase in last week. Also, the D-line letting Joe Burrow get out of the pocket, and then some all-out blitzes I just didn't agree with. So when, players say, we're right there, like, a lot of times people just roll their eyes. But I think this team is. But at the end of the day, Jake, all that matters is wins and losses. You can always say we're right there. And Saleh knows this. You got to put out the product, and you got to get wins. This is a big game for the Steelers, because a lot of people were looking after that Browns win and saying maybe they can come out of this 3-1 or 2-2. And I think right now, if they win Sunday, I think a lot of people would be happy because a lot of people were thinking they could be 0-4 coming out of the way that the schedule was sent where they play all AFC North teams. But if they come out 2-2, then they got Miami. They play Miami. Maybe there's something they can build on. So this is a big game for the Jets. They got to come away with this one this week.
No doubt. And I understand it's only 3 games and it's New York. So, Robert Saleh even said, every game feels like it's a playoff game for 17 weeks when you're coach of the Jets. And I understand all that. I guess my frustration as a fan is, they're not in the game in the fourth quarter in 2 of these 3 games. And I understand, look, Joe Flacco's a backup quarterback. Zach Wilson needs to come back and elevate this team and play well. But I think the frustration is this team's been blown out a lot. Go back to last year. The defense has allowed 21 plus points in 9 straight games. And it just feels like afterwards, Salah's making a bunch of excuses in the media. And he's saying, well, every team has 6 to 7 miscommunications a game. It's just that might be true. I mean, you could tell us, but we don't want to hear that. It's bad right now. I'm worried this is going to spiral out of control. And I know we're 3 games in and Zach hasn't played yet, but I've seen it too many times as a fan of this team.
Yeah, it's still early. I would say if it was week 7 or 8, I would say, all right, enough is enough. He's right, though. Every game there is 6 or 7 miscommunications. They've just been in pivotal situations with the Jets you can't have on third down and red zone where you got to be the keys to winning usually are, play good red zone defense, win on third down on offense or defense, and limit the turnovers. Whoever wins the turnover margin usually wins the game. So they've just struggled in those situations. I mean, if you look at it, week 2 versus the Browns, they go in to take the lead. Max Mitchell gets beat by Jadeveon Clowney in the red zone fumble. The Browns get the ball back. You can't have those. Now, again, that's a rookie tackle. I would think maybe you would chip or something. And even yesterday when they were chipping Trey Hendrickson, the tight ends and backs got to do a better job, right? You got to almost force this dude to go inside of you on the chip. You can't springboard him on the chip and have him beat the quarterback around the edge because you got to think, Flacco doesn't have the mobility as Zach Wilson. So as far as stepping up and moving around in the pocket, a lot of times Joe sets up at 9, he just stays there. He's got to be able, and it's on him too. He's got to be able to step up in that pocket. That one sack that Trey Hendrickson had when Conklin chipped him. I know you want to get out on your route, man. Sometimes it's for the betterment of the team. You got to make sure that this dude doesn't wreck the day. And he literally wrecked the day. He won AFC Defensive Player of the Week because of us this week. You got to chip that guy and make sure he either has the arc or he has to come inside of you. Even if it kind of derails your route in the process, because the protection is first and foremost. You're not going to get the ball if the quarterback's on his back. So I know that's something that, Ron Middleton and the coaching staff on the offense will be talking about this week. Because, again, it looks like McDermott could start. Honestly, I wouldn't mind throwing Said in there. Said Oboyehi, who we just brought in from the Texans. This guy is a former first-round pick. Used to be a starter in Cincinnati, started some in Seattle. It just depends on if he can learn the offense fast enough. But McDermott, good Lord.
It's scary right now. Now, I want to get your take on this because I did a video on it yesterday. So your colleagues at SNY, Bart Scott and Willie Colon, guys that you know really well, they tried to argue that Flacco should start against the Steelers because, well, he knows the Steelers and it's Blitzburg. And my head almost exploded, Leger. No, Flacco can't look. Nice guy. Thank you for the win in Cleveland. You were great in the last 2 minutes. He's a backup. Zach's the 2nd pick in the draft. There's no soft spot to put him back out there. And their argument was, oh, we'll save him for the Dolphins because they're feeling good about themselves. Pittsburgh's coming in off a loss. And I'm like, well, the Dolphins are probably losing tomorrow night when they, on a short week, have to go to Cincinnati. So by that logic, we can't play Zach then. So it's what are we doing? He needs to play. We need to figure out what he is. And he's mobile. So at least if the pocket breaks down, which it will, because Connor McDermott's awful, at least Zach could keep the play alive. I think it's nuts what they said. Your thoughts on their commentary on Flacco?
Yeah, I've been seeing that tweet circle around. Me and my guy Connor Rogers actually kind of talked about it. I laughed, right? I would have had to say I respectfully disagree with both of y'all right now. What have you not watched the Miami Dolphins film? You think Pittsburgh is blitzing? Good Lord, they literally send Holland or Brandon Jones every play. So there is no soft landing spot. We knew that just had one of the toughest schedules coming out of the gate, and that's why a lot of fans were just well, if they get 7 or 8 wins, we'll be happy because it was a gauntlet coming out of the gate, right? And this is before we knew Miami was going to be as good as they are this year. So, yeah, again, to me, this is the perfect game for them to play. This Pittsburgh team has struggled on offense and defense, right? They haven't been able to stop anybody in the run game. They haven't been able to generate the pass rush because TJ Watt isn't there now. Highsmith is the one guy we definitely have to block. I don't give a damn if he's on the left side, right side. He's playing out of his mind right now. We have to block him. And then Zach Wilson, if he does play, and it looks like all indications are that he will play, find Mika Fitzpatrick every damn play. I don't give a damn where he's at. You need the ID number 39 because he's the one guy that can wreck the game on defense for you right now, besides Highsmith on the edge. So find him every single play. I think this is the perfect game for Zach to play. Now, it's going to come down to Mike LaFleur and, how inventive he can be, because Pittsburgh does do a lot of different exotic blitzes, right? And they're trying to manufacture some pressure because TJ Watt isn't there. But you got to be able to find Spillane and Devin Bush in coverage. Tight ends got to be big this week, like 100%. Like, yes, Tyler Conklin had a good game, but it was a lot of it was in garbage time. We need tight ends to show up. Him and CJ Uzama and Zach Wilson, they had a rapport, him and Conklin early on in camp. We need them to be big this week. They got to be big down the seams versus these linebackers in coverage. But again, find Mika Fitzpatrick every damn play because he can wreck the game.
The good news is he might not definitely play. I know he's in concussion.
Yeah, I know it's up in the air, so we'll see.
So as far as Zach Wilson here, I mean, what are you expecting? Obviously, he's coming off injury, so there's going to be some rust, I guess, expected. He doesn't need to be, Joe Burrow from game one. But as far as giving the team a chance to win, would you agree that his mobility alone is why he needs to be out there and just try and keep plays alive and give this team a shot?
Yeah, if he's truly healthy with his knee. I mean, honestly, I think we need to lean on the run game. We've actually run the ball pretty well. We've just gotten away from it too early, and then in games we've been down, so we've had to pass the ball. So I think Michael Carter and Breece Hall are going to be big this game. Our offensive line, right? The one thing you can do as offensive line if you can't protect is you can run with physicality. Try to go out there and establish some type of run game. I think Lincoln Tomlinson and AVT will be big this game. So Connor McGovern in the middle. They got to come with it this week. Right now, they got a pretty stout defensive front. Tyson Alualu up there. You got Ironhead up there, and also Larry Ogunjobi, who had a sack last week. So these guys, it's going to be tough sledding against those three in the middle. But we got to establish the run game. We got to be in advantageous third down situations. We can't be like last week, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9. No, we got to be in 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2. That way the playbook is wide open. You can really get inventive with Michael LaFleur in this offense, because when you're in 3rd and 9, everybody knows you got to throw the ball down the field. Routes like that take time to develop, right? And then you're putting your tackles on islands. That's not what you want to do. You want to be in 3rd and 2 and 3rd and 3 situations. That way, the quick game, or even potentially pick up some first downs and run the ball on 3rd down. So that's what they got to do on offense. On defense, I mean, Mr. Trubisky, his offense has not got going. I mean, the best he's looked was in that last 2-minute drive versus the Cleveland Browns. He actually threw a couple dime plays. I'm not saying we just go out here knowing that Najee Harris is going to run the ball and go man coverage all day, because the last thing you want to do is let Chase Claypool and George Pickens get going, because they haven't got going now. The Steelers have had 10 days to prep for this game. So expect the unexpected this game for sure. They might come out 3 wide and just start throwing the ball around the yard, right? I like our corners on the outside versus their receivers. Now, Deontay Johnson has had issues with drops, but he's still an explosive receiver. It still needs to be respected. Freiermuth is the guy that Mr. Trubisky kind of has faith in and trust. So that's the guy down the seams, these linebackers. And I think Quan Alexander will go because Quincy is hurt. Maybe that benefits the Jets as far as, coverage-wise. Now, run game, I think we lose a little bit there because Quincy Williams is a spark plug in the run game. He's played a lot better this year. That sucked to see him go down. But coverage-wise, I think Quan's a little bit better than him coverage-wise. But in the run game, I think we lose a little bit with Quincy Williams being hurt.
He's Leger Douzable. My name is Jake Asman. Leger, of course, played for the Jets, 10-year NFL veteran, played for Robert Saleh with the San Francisco 49ers. We're going to wrap up with him here in a moment. I do want to talk about Mojo, though. We were just talking about Zach Wilson's triumphant return. You could trade with Zach Wilson stock over at Mojo. Download the Mojo app right now if you're in New Jersey. You could build a portfolio, trade in real time, buy and sell year-round, cash out anytime. Plus, if you're in New Jersey and you download the app, you'll have a chance to get your first free stock worth up to $10,000. So here's where the Zach Wilson stock is at right now. It's trending up. Why? Flacco bad. Zach Wilson expected to come back. So maybe you buy low before it goes up even higher. Or if you believe like I do, he's capable of taking that year 2 leap. Maybe there's some value in investing in Zach Wilson right now. So check it out. Thanks to Mojo for being a big part of the show. They're live in New Jersey. More states are coming, but make sure you download the app right away and start trading today. Back to our conversation now with Leger Douzable, one of my favorite Jets, and now one of my favorite analysts here. Leger, we do miss you on SNY, though, after every game. I mean, someone's got to hold Bart and Willie accountable.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to those guys, and I told them when I wasn't going to come back, and I found out that Connor was going to be the guy. I mean, there's no other guy would like to replace me than Connor. Connor he's a budding superstar, man. He's going to be a star in this industry, and me and
Great
him,
hair too.
he always has like the Johnny Bravo look, real clean and tight. But yeah, me and Connor go back to, because I call college football. So me and him, at the Senior Bowl and at the Combine, really got to know each other and, just talk about football. He's a bright mind in this game. And he's the one guy, like I said, if I was going to leave, that would be the one guy I want to replace me. I miss Jet Nation. I really tried to make it work. It's with my schedule, it would have been me killing myself. I'm already killing myself, knock on wood. But yeah, going back to what you were saying about Zach's stock, and I know you're throwing out, you could buy stock in him right now, and Flacco's down. The one thing that does concern me, right, was the last time Zach was out on the actual football field, right? I think he had a pick six in the preseason game, ended up getting hurt on a quarterback run. So it's been a while since he actually played with live bullets, right? And even in practice, right? He hasn't taken any 11-on-11 reps. I think today, hopefully we'll know at 12 o'clock in about 30 minutes if he's actually going to take some 11-on-11 reps. I don't know, Jake, have you heard, has he been cleared yet or no?
Everything I've heard is that he's going to be.
He's going to be, but it hasn't come out yet that he's
I'm
cleared,
surprised it
right?
hasn't leaked yet, by the way.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's concerning or not, but the one thing is I would have liked for him last week to get some 11-on-11 reps. And I asked, like, I know he's doing some stuff on the side, individual stuff, but I'm like, why hasn't he done any 11-on-11 reps? It's because he hadn't been cleared yet. So now you're talking about a guy really only getting 3 practices in, and he hasn't played in a month really, or had competition periods in a month because he's just been doing individual stuff. So the rust is going to be there, right? That's why I say you got to lean on this run game. It kind of reminds me when they played the Houston Texans last year and he came back, like he was rusty. And it was crazy. He was coming off a knee injury because he ran so much in that game, and I was surprised. I'm like,
he had a rushing touchdown.
But he didn't look right. And I think it maybe have been more mental because the next game he looked fine coming off the Houston Texan game. I think once you play a whole game, you're like, all right, my knee is good. So that's what you worry about, like just from a player psyche. Like I haven't played in a month. I haven't taken a hit. The last time I made a move, I got banged up. And these are only 3 practices before I play live bullets going on, I was going to say Heinz Field, but I know they changed the name of the state. It's going to always be Heinz Field to be. I don't care what they changed it to. Renegade in the background. So it'll be interesting to see how he responds because, again, he's only been doing individual up to this point. He's got 3 practices to try to get back in mode. And then talk about being in game shape, right? We expect him to be a little bit more mobile. Like, how will his win be? Because, again, he hasn't been able to do – he's been doing some running and stuff on the side, but I try to tell people all the time, you can do all the running you want, Jake. Ain't nothing like football reps. Like, you can be in the best shape of your life. You put that shoulder pads on, you put that helmet on, you take 2 reps in the game, and you're like – so, like, the reps are going to be the only thing that gets him in shape, not only physically, but mentally as well.
Well, I have you here. Before we wrap up, I know you watched back the Bengals tape earlier. You've been following this team up close. Your thoughts on this rookie class so far? Because I think the one positive, despite the 1 and 2 start and Jet fans' angst right now, is from what we have seen, the rookies have played really well. Your thoughts on what you've seen from this rookie class?
Isn't that like a theme every year, though? Right? We got to get to the point where that's not supposed to be a thing. Like the rookies are playing some of the best football for us right now.
We're not used to competent drafting, Leger. That's the problem.
Well, you got to think like last year we got Elijah Moore. He was banged up, but when he was on the field, he was electric. Michael Carter looked really well as well. Like both Brandon Echols. Both Michael Carter's, Brandon Echols. We got, contributions from the 6th round pick. Like that can't be the story going forward every year. Now, when you have that many high draft picks, yes, you want them to go out there and ball. Sauce Gardner's played well. Breece Hall, you've seen spurts of, explosiveness from him. Jermaine Johnson had a really good game Sunday. Michael Clemens has played well. Max Mitchell, for a 4th round pick to come in and start from week 1, has played well in spurts. So, yeah, you have to be excited about that. But, again, we have to build off of that, right? some of these vets that we've paid, they have to, pay it forward. They got to come up big. Like the Corey Davises have to come up. The Carl Lawsons, they got to come up big. We need these guys. I mean, Zach Wilson, yes, he was a rookie last year. We need him to come back and play. The Tyler Conklins, like these guys, they have to hit for us, because I had this conversation before, Jake. Your rookie class doesn't set you back. It's what you do in free agency that can set you back, right? Because you spent all this money, the Lincoln Tomlinsons, the Conklins, the Carl Lawsons, but these guys have to hit. They have to be who they were when you paid them, right? Corey Davis, we need a 1,000-yard receiving season out of you. Like we need it from these vet guys. Like I love that our rookie class is playing well, but these guys can't be the focal point of our, of our team going forward. These guys that you pay in free agency, they can set you back. So these guys need to come with it.
Estic has a super chat, says, Lejay, please come out of retirement so we can have a decent O-line. Well, Lejay, you were a D-line. We need you. You could get after the quarterback more than what we've seen from this Jets defensive line so far. Please save.
Like I said, it's been a combination of a couple things. Guys not rushing is one on the defensive line. Because in that second half, like Carl Lawson, I'm not Carl Lawson, but Quentin Williams. And I thought Sheldon Reagans had a really good game Sunday in the run game and in the pass rush game. Couple quarterback pressures, end up getting the sack. Quentin Williams too was disruptive the whole game. But it's like Saleh said, and again, I know this might sound cliche or coach speak. Like it's the 6 plays that are detrimental to your team winning and losing. We've been on the opposite end of those 6 plays. It's time for us to be on the positive end of those 6 plays and not have those busts and not have them cost us games.
Old Mellow Yellow with our final super chat here. He says, I know we haven't been using our tight ends much, but we got to remember Zach loves throwing to them. I remember all throughout camp, he was in Conklin, and then at BYU, he threw to them a ton. You had on this earlier, Lejay. I mean, CJ Uzomah has 1 catch in 3 games so far as a Jet. Can we get him involved? Can we get Conklin involved? We got to see that a part of this offense.
Yeah, it almost seems like they're going to use Conklin as a receiving threat. But, shoot, they've had Conklin out there blocking defensive ends one-on-one. He was blocking Sam Hubbard, which I could never understand. I used to love when tight ends stayed in a block. That's barbecue chicken alert for me. But it seems like C.J. Uzomah is going to be more of the inline blocker, and Conklin's going to be more of the receiving threat. I mean, I don't give a damn who it is. They need to define the tight ends this game, because if, they keep Devin Bush and Spillane in there covering them down the seam, Zach Wilson needs to cook them for sure.
Lejay, tell everyone where they could listen to you tonight. Mad Dog Sports Radio. I am athlete. I mean, you're what college game are you doing? You're the busiest guy in sports media.
Yeah, man. So you can listen to me every day, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern, on Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio channel. I am athlete tonight. I am the host, man. We have a good time. We rotate the co-host, but I'm there every day. It's me, Brandon Marshall, LaShawn Shady McCoy, Adam Pac-Man Jones, Antoine Walker, Omar Kelly, Auntie Chantel, and my guy B-Flow, Brandon Flowers. We keep it fresh, man. It's like locker room talk, but you actually get some insight from players, right, as far as breaking down games. We had a really good conversation yesterday, me, LaShawn McCoy, and Antoine Walker, because there's a lot of news in the NBA, but there's also a lot of news in the NFL, just breaking down different games, man. So make sure you guys tune in every day, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern on Sirius XM Radio, Mad Dog Sports Channel. Also calling college football for ESPN. Not calling this week, but I will be back next week. I'll let you know the game. And then every Thursdays and most Mondays, CBS Sports HQ, I give you my top prop bets for Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, and break down the big storylines for that upcoming Sunday's game. So tune in tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern on CBS Sports HQ. I'll be there.
What a plug. I mean, you're the busiest guy. Lejay,
hey, man, just grinding away.
That's right. I appreciate you coming on, man. Thanks so much for making this happen. I know Jet fans love to hear from you. We miss you on SNY after every single game. So we'll do it again soon. Hopefully the Jets get a win on Sunday and order is restored for this fan base.
I love it. Big game Sunday for the Jets, man. Zach Wilson hopefully returns. Just got to have this one. They got to have this one.
He's Lejay Douzable. My name is Jake Asman. Thanks so much to everyone who took time to watch. Please hit that subscribe button if you're new on the right-hand side of your screen. Like the video on your way out. Appreciate all of you for taking the time to watch. Have a great day, everybody.